Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, TransferTradeSolutions.com on a Tuesday, 25th August. Let's get right into the charts. Markets are just very, very quiet for the last several days, really in anticipation of the NVIDIA earnings. Again, I wrote about it over the weekend, the fact that NVIDIA really hasn't moved a heck of a lot post earnings. If you want to read the article, subscribe to the newsletter and or go to the archives. We can send you an archive if you want. That's kind of where we're at. Let's looking at the setting up for next couple of days. We've got core PCE tomorrow. Then after the close, we've got the NVIDIA earnings, and then on Friday we've got the speech from Warsh. You can see markets just hovering around the 7,700. Probably likely not going to move until tomorrow morning could be interesting. Maybe we get some interest rate movement or whatever, but clearly very, very narrow trading range. And average range on the S&P has come way down, which usually means a calm before the storm type of thing. So we'll see. Clearly, this is going to be ready for a breakout, either back up towards these supply zones or possibly kind of having to come back down to the demand zone down in here. We're also still kind of hovering along this, so there's ample room for movement in either direction. We'll see what happens. NASDAQ, we got semis bouncing a little bit today, but similarly, no movement. We did bounce off of this demand zone here. No follow through in a similar situation. With that, sentiment is just mixed. We've got the VIX just essentially being very quiet, which also means that we're probably due for some kind of a big move coming up in the next several weeks. We got that negative seasonality, which we'll see if that actually turns out to be anything that comes to pass. We have the 10-year basically in a range, and this is similar to a lot of markets. We'll see if in fact we break down below 460 or break up. If you're a trend follower and you draw your lines across here, you probably would say that you're, shorter term, you may want to go up. But again, clearly the trend is up on rates, down on bonds, but we'll see if that actually happens. The dollar consolidating, not much really to talk about here. It's just been consolidating for a week now. And similarly, that literally if it breaks 98, it's going to go to 97.50. All of this is going to be predicated on how how the markets react to the inflation data, the speech. Obviously, NVIDIA may not have the inflation numbers in the speech, I think, have more to do with rates, and therefore maybe the dollar by extension. Remember, the dollar moves on the exchange rates. Bitcoin, had that monster rally, still trying to break above 82. Again, we'll see if this is a real bottom, and or we've had these type of bounces before. Clearly, 83 is going to be worth watching. If we surmount that level, if we overtake that level, you're probably looking at 95K, and then eventually, this will probably mark the bottom. But there is also the situation where we could have a pullback down to that 67, which actually would be the best buying opportunity. You don't want to chase it here as well. Everything else, oil, as you know, the story with oil. There's, something comes out of the Middle East. It's pulling back today on talks of the deal between Oman and Iran, and possibly the sanctions that were announced yesterday, but just no fall through. Clearly 87 and 88 is resistance now. You can see that on the chart. Nat gas trying to bottom out. And again, the key word is trying. It keeps holding right at 271 on one hand, but on the other, it's got to get going here. It's got to, I mean, at some point, it's obviously going to do something here, but 83, this potential breakout was a false breakout, never materialized, but we keep hanging on here. At some point, it's probably going to try at least to get to 3, I would say. And then the clear massive breakout is going to be at 3, but when that's going to occur, obviously nobody knows. And if you did, you could try to position ahead of that as well. Grains, I've been talking about this. I wrote about this. Looks to me like, again, they're ready for a breakout, a massive long term. We'll see. Also, corn on the long-term charts hasn't happened yet, but looking at this longer-term chart, looks like it's underway. We'll see if there's any kind of pullbacks. I'm actually waiting for some pullbacks to get long. So all of these interesting situations, but with regards to the stock market, I think things are going to change quickly here, probably going into the end of August and September, and we'll but be under the surface, tons of opportunity. I mean, there's all kinds of Apple's just been, if Apple comes down to 300, some of these gold stocks have been going crazy here. AEM, some of the energy shares. So there's a lot of opportunities in individual stocks. If you want some information on that, contact me at the links below, and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday. Take care.